All right, we're ready to go, boys. The first official podcast of the Bottom Six. Let's go.
Here we fucking go. I'm ready. I'm fucking excited, boys. Let's get this.
I guess we should introduce ourselves since we're the hosts, right?
Yep.
So I'm Alex McDonald. I'm one of the hosts. I'm a big Leafs fan, and I'm pretty excited to get into stuff with all the expansion drafts and trades. And yeah, exactly. Fuck you guys. I go through enough miserable bullshit. I don't need to deal with your stuff.
I think next podcast I'm gonna get a 1967 logo made up.
I'll have it soon enough. When I get the Leafs banner in behind me for the backdrop, you'll see the 1967 loud and proud. Right behind
Yeah. Is it in black and white? Like all
No,
the pictures?
no. It's got some color to it, They're trying to modernize it.
I think Leafs fans get it enough, but we'll see.
I'm still gonna continue to give it to them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you're not a Leafs fan, then you just like chirping Leafs fans, and for some reason we get a sick satisfaction out of chirping everybody else.
Yeah, you savages. You guys go cutthroat though, unlike the rest of us. We're kind of gentle, and then Leafs fans are just like, "I'll kill your whole fucking family." You're like, "Holy shit, dude, relax."
I feel the exact opposite. I feel like I'm nice a lot of the times, and then everyone else is trying to fucking attack me. And I'm like, no, please spare my life.
Maddie's not nice.
There's some where maybe they're a little more tame, but there's others that get quite heated in discussions at times.
Yeah, it depends on the fan, right?
Oh, fuck yeah. All right.
Okay, so, boys, you guys got to introduce yourselves now. Now it's your turn.
Well, I'm Tyler Woodman. A lot of people call me Woody or Woodman, preferably. As you can see in the background behind me, I'm a huge Oilers fan. Unfortunately, I know Alex's pain because, we had that nice decade of darkness, and then we had Peter Chiarelli. And
first overall, after first overall, after first overall, that didn't work out.
So hopefully we're turning the corner soon. I fucking hope, at least, So
yeah, we're going to be getting into that Duncan Keith trade soon, too.
I'm also... Some of you guys might know me as the legendary winger, Steve French. Unfortunately, we had to retire because NHL screwed us and fucking made us change our name. And it just killed all the boys' buzz. So, unfortunately,
apparently the Ram Ranch Cowboys is an offensive name to EA Sports NHL. So,
I don't understand. Where's the offense there? It seems like a pretty calm name to me.
All dynasties must come to an end, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get the new one right away. Maybe I'll get it on sale or something.
I don't even think. I think I might cancel my Xbox subscription and just.
Oh, really?
Fuck Xbox altogether. Save some money. Just PC Master Race. Yeah, PC Master Race. All right, Big Trev, you up?
Yeah, I'm Trevor Adams here. I'm the resident Ottawa Sens fan. Eugene Melnyk. Basically all that could be said over 3, 4, 5 years, let's say. But yeah, we're rebuilding, and now it's time to see what the young guns can do.
If anything, you know what? We're all ailing fans. Like, look at the teams we cheer for. All of our teams suck. Like, in one way or another, there's something that just really sucks about our team. So, like, you know what? We can dish out chirps, but there's always chirps that are kind of come back our way.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say how professional he sounded when he introduced himself there, too.
Thought I was watching Trevor Adams, the resident Ottawa Senators fan. Hello there.
It was, like, perfect. And me and Alex looking like goofs, and Trev's over here, the professional one. So, as you guys probably can tell, me and Alex are going to be the knuckleheads, and Trevor is going to be the one that keeps us on track.
Yeah. Trevor's going to be the one.
Keep us afloat, make sure nothing gets too out of line, let's say.
All right, well, let's get started, boys. And like I was already saying before, the Edmonton Oilers acquired defenseman Duncan Keith and forward Tim Soderlund from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for defenseman Caleb Jones and a 2022 NHL conditional pick. I believe it ended up being third.
So I don't understand this. Oilers fans absolutely hated this trade, and it blows my mind. Like, I mean, taking his whole cap wasn't ideal, but at the same time, Caleb Jones was their 7th, 8th defenseman, barely played. There's no room for him to join the lineup because there's already guys fighting for spots that are so much better than him. So I I enjoy it. Gives Caleb a shot to play in Chicago. We bring in Duncan Keith, probably one of the greatest defensemen to ever play. And he's going to be huge for the room. If he doesn't perform on the ice, it's still, he's got that champion mentality. And I think he'll just be good for all the defensemen and, the young leadership. I like it. And you never know with this. What was his name? Tim Soderlund?
Tim Soderlund, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little small. I think he's like 5'7", 140 pounds or something like that. Like, I don't know. So we'll see about him, but you never know. Fucking Gerby's like 3 foot tall, and
I think
had a
really
long
what
NHL
everyone's
career.
big deal about it is more it's the cap hit, right? It's the amount of money that's coming the Oilers' way. Like I remember the entire year you were all excited about how much cap space the Oilers had to play with. Like, what's Ken Holland going to do? And the first thing he does, Duncan Keith. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Duncan Keith is cool. Like exactly as what you said. He's one of the best D to ever grace the game, but he's also like kind of at the end of his career. And is he worth 5.5? Like I'm more surprised. Like how did Holland not get the Blackhawks to like retain anything? Like how did he? I don't know why he was willing to take on the full 5.5.
I was following Twitter the whole time leading up to the trade, and there was a lot of people tweeting that Kenny had him by the balls and basically was like, nope, this is the deal you get. You don't want it. That's it. But I was not expecting that to be the big fuck you kind of trade, take it or leave it. But apparently that was, and I guess I'm not mad about it. I'm excited.
I mean, the thing is, like, if anything, I feel like obviously the Blackhawks are happy to get that off the books. Like, they have enough of their own kind of contracts to be dealing with and worrying about, and they got young guys coming up the pipeline that they're going to want to keep in. They're going to want to be able to pay them. So getting Duncan Keith, getting rid of him, at least I feel like is probably a good thing in their books. But I mean, if the Oilers feel like he's worth that cap hit for, I guess, that leadership locker room presence, then
yeah,
fuck it. That's what you get, right? And I mean, maybe he'll end up being good. Who knows? Like a change of scenery. Like he wanted to go to Edmonton. It was one of the teams he was interested in going to. So
I think it was his number one team he wanted to go to.
Yeah, so that's the thing, even better, right? So it's like if this is where he wanted to go play and end his career.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a Mike Smith situation where it's like, okay, the guy's like a gray beard, but he still has some juice in him. He can still play hockey.
900 years old, and he was fucking in the Vezina conversation. Like, all right, sick. Like, I just don't understand. Like, yeah, age is scary, 38, but at the same time, it's fucking Duncan Keith. Like, he's going to be huge for the Oilers. Like, I don't know what else to say. And Clefbaum looks like, I don't know, Clefbaum might be done forever. Like, he might not even ever come back. So that fills his role right there. Duncan Keith can still chew up 18, 19 minutes a game. And I think that'll be huge for Nurse. Like, Nurse played fucking 62 minutes in game 4. Like, if like, what are we trying to burn Nurse out by the time he's 30? Like, I think
the dude was literally on the ice like the entire game. It felt like at that point.
Yeah,
like is this dude even sitting down ever?
Some games he's playing 30 minutes. Like that's ridiculous, man. Like you can't be having him out there for that long. Like, can he play that long? Yes, he can, but at the same time, he's gonna die out, and then we're gonna be like, well, look at Nurse, he's fucking shit now. Well, you Cam Talboted him for fuck's sakes.
Well, that's the thing. You play him that many minutes, like it's more likely an injury or something's going to happen, or again, burnout, wear and tear. And it's like you want to utilize them like a little longer than just a few seasons. Like, what if that's what I would be worried about going into this season after all that hockey is. Okay, is he going to be able to get back in the swing of things, or I guess we have to see how he really starts because Nurse might be a little colder than normal depending. Just because of how many minutes he did play, unless this offseason's really good to him and he feels nice, rested, and healthy. But one thing I've noticed kind of with the end of this season and playoffs is that there's a lot of guys that are just beat up, needing surgery, or
I don't know how rested he'll be. He just had a new kid, so he's probably not getting too much sleep right now. Which congratulations. If you're watching Darnell Nurse, congratulations.
Well, at this point, essentially, he's probably not fit in the top 4 behind Nurse. And I was like, when you're hearing what they were looking for in the first place, you're talking Bear. I'm thinking they were talking Puljujärvi at one point. It's like, you're not giving up Bear. You're not giving up Puljujärvi for Keith. Like,
They
to
wanted
consider what they could have gotten out of it and what they did, it's like they tried to shortchange him a bit, but mind you, it all comes down to the
Broberg
money.
too. At one point, they wanted Broberg, and I was like, Kenny Holland, you trade Broberg, I'll jump through. I'll fly to Edmonton. I'll fly to fucking Edmonton.
Maybe that's where things went wrong. Is like the value, or I guess the ask for Duncan Keith already sounds like it's higher than it should have been to begin with. So, yeah, I guess what we view is like, okay, this was a big deal. Like, Edmonton gave up too much for what they're getting. I guess maybe in their mind, they're kind of like, fuck, like, these boys wanted way, way more than that initially. Like, I was good enough to at least haggle them down to this, which, as you said, like, Caleb Jones, maybe he becomes like a full-time NHLer, like playing maybe a second pair, probably a third pairing D, like, which would be nice to have. But at the same time, there's probably more usefulness out of having Duncan Keith for the next 2 years, even though, again, a pretty big cap hit, in my opinion. It's sick. I feel like you could have even got Suter or somebody else in the free agency with that money. But obviously,
fuck Suter.
Ken Holland really, really wanted Keith and was just like, fuck it. I'm pulling the trigger, boys. I'm willing to pay it, and just didn't care. I mean, you still have some room to mess around with, so I guess we'll see what other moves he makes, right? Like, we just have to see, okay, come the end of the offseason, and then, even into the season, how is Keith going to do? And at that point, I feel like we can really judge by then.
Yeah, if he gets Neil and Koskinen off the books too, that $5.5 million is nothing. There's a lot of money. I think it's like $7 or $8 million that he frees up with those two gone. Like, and if he does it by trade and not has to eat it with a buyout, like, fuck it. Give Keith $12 million. Okay, let's not get crazy here.
That's the thing. He's got some work to do this offseason.
All right, let's move on to the next trade because we're gonna spend all night.
Yeah, let's just be quick on a couple of these ones. New Jersey acquires defenseman Ryan Graves from the Colorado Avalanche. I think that's a pretty solid pickup on their part. Graves is a pretty solid defenseman, and just to add to their core, which, like, if anything needs the help, needs actually some more NHL bodies on it. I think they can't really complain. And I mean, what do they send here? A second-round pick, if anything, I'd say is the most prominent piece. This Mikhail Maltsev. I haven't heard of him before. I'm not sure.
Never.
Let's see. How did he do last year? 33 games played, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points, -4. So I mean, he looks okay, but again, probably like a bottom 6 forward.
What was Graves' cap hit there? Let me see.
Yeah, look it up on Cap Friendly here. I mean, he looks pretty solid here.
Ryan Graves had $3 million. So that to me, that seems like it's trying to free up some space to get
probably
Calgary signed.
Or like, if anything, it's like Colorado was going to have to expose him. He might have got picked up, so they just wanted to get something in return.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I think it just works out real well for both teams in this trade. Like, there's no winner. Well, there's both winners technically. There's no.
If anything, I think the Devils were the main. I would say they're the bigger winners because they got Graves, the better player. But Colorado, like, they won some cap room. Got a young prospect player that could maybe play in their bottom 6 and a second-round pick. That's pretty fucking good.
And if they can get Subban picked, holy fuck, they're laughing.
That's like for defensemen. It's like you're looking in most cases, like, depending on the quality of player, a third, a fourth, maybe a fifth. It's like to get a second and to get that prospect on top of that. It's like, sure, you're building for the now, but you're still helping out for that future, even though you're giving away like a top 4 defenseman for the team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And now they got more money to pay Cale Makar with.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I forgot he needs a contract here. Which
yeah.
A lot of guys go into the RFA market, so we'll have to see if
it's going to be an interesting year. I think that there's going to be a lot of juggling that happens this offseason.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Colorado because what's his name in Dallas there? Heiskanen.
Oh yeah, he got like what?
Just signed $8 million. Like, Makar's sitting there like, oh baby, breaking the bank, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be worth it because Shabbat's making what, $8 million. So if anything,
7, I believe.
Okay, $7 million over 8 years, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Heiskanen's making a bit more. So, I guess if anything, if you're looking at a decent, at least they're within a range of like $1.5 million, right? And if you can get Makar fucking underneath $9 million, like if you can get him for $8 a year, I'd take that as a win if I was the Colorado Avalanche.
Chabot's on 8, rather. I thought I always get the two mixed up. It's like 7 by 8 or 8 by 7, but no, he's being paid 8 mil per year.
But I could also
8
see
mil per year. So basically, they're pretty comparable. Chabot and Heiskanen, which I would say they're both like elite level defensemen. So like 8 million seems like the running price for a guy of that caliber.
But like you got to look too, because McKinnon took a hometown discount, and if Landeskog ends up re-signing on a hometown discount, you got to think Mackay would do the same, because you can't be a young kid. Senior leaders take huge discounts to stay and play, and then
it doesn't sound like Landeskog's taking a discount though. He's like, sounds like he's like actually pissed off at them because of how.
Well, he's mad with them, sure, but it was sounding like from the deals they were giving, it was like 5 to 6 per. It was like 4 or 5 years. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it's like
slapping.
Yeah, and he wants to like fucking Rantanen money. Like he wants like 9 million.
How much is Rantanen?
Rantanen, I think, is what, 9.5. I think.
Holy fuck! These guys are getting paid mad money out there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like Landeskog's like, yo, I'm your captain. I'm pretty sure he is the captain.
McKinnon's
right? So
sitting at 6.3, and these guys are all like, bro, give me the whole fucking bank account.
Oh, the McKinnon's not making that little. Like, he's making like 8 or 9 million probably. Like when he gets re-signed, he won't be. I think he'll be like, oh, my discount is I didn't ask for 12.5 million, which like you would fucking pay me if I asked for that anyway.
But like, Colorado,
so if he takes anything less than like 12 million, that's a discount for McKinnon.
These guys all have to take discounts because they're not winning much right now. I thought they're going to be good things.
See, the thing is like that. At least teams have the negotiating tactic of our cap is flat now. Fucking COVID happened. Like, we have to kind of budget in a way, right? So like,
if not,
there's good players that are going to just have to be forced to take less because teams just legit won't have any money to give them. It'll be like, I have, the guy wants 6 million. I have 4 million left. It was kind of like the end of last offseason. It seemed like there was a lot of good names remaining in free agency, and teams were just kind of like, I have, 3 million cap space. Do you want to come play with me for like a year? So then like a good player would just go join the roster just because it was like, oh, okay, no one else is offering me anything. I guess I'll go play with you. Or like $1 million. Like people were just taking whatever. Cause like didn't Duclair take one of those kind of deals to play with Florida? He was just like, okay, you're willing to pay me money. I guess I'll come here for a year. Do a prove-it year, I guess.
That's probably a sore spot for Trevor.
Hey, I mean, good for him. He got a 3-year deal, right? 3 years, $3 million. So he ended up getting which I'm like, really, I guess, like, couldn't the Sens have afforded that? But maybe at the time he was asking for more money.
The thing was, maybe not necessarily Eugene in that case. Like, yes, Eugene's done some things that I might not be necessarily happy with, but that's like, I think it was kind of a case of, so, all right, this is what Duclair wanted once he came to the negotiation table with Ottawa, but then it's like once he got around to all these other teams with said same price, it wasn't really getting him anywhere. So then it was like, at that point, it's like, would they have gone after him after having gone through the re-sign phase and just had no luck? I don't know, but
see, well, that's kind of at least what I'm seeing is like an example of, there was decent players like just waiting at the end of free agency that were like, okay, I don't have a team at all now, just because nobody could really afford to give them a contract, so they were kind of signing discount deals. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened this year.
Prime example is that is Hoffman. Didn't Hoffman sign like in the middle of training camp or something, like a couple days?
I think it was for $5 million,
something like that. Yeah,
St. Louis, like straight up $5 million. But again, he was asking for like a long-term deal at more money, like probably 6 or 7 million, I think, around there. And like St. Louis is like, yo, well, like, we have like $5 million here.
Did he even do anything this year in St. Louis?
I don't even know. That's the thing.
I put up some points, but. Let's see.
With the divisions, how they were, I pretty much only watched like Canadian division. That was like the one thing I'm kind of like looking forward to next year, where your team will actually be playing the American team, so you can kind of see what's going on with them. It won't just be 7 teams you're playing over and over again.
At first, I loved the North Division, but then it got so played out.
Halfway through, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like these teams have beaten the shit of each other. We know who's gonna make it and who's not.
Play
like,
Winnipeg 3 times, and then you're like, oh, play fucking Toronto
4 times in a row
and
against
then you're like,
Vancouver.
oh, Winnipeg again, and then Winnipeg in the playoffs. I'm like, oh my god, fuck the Jets. I'm so sick of this shit. Like, give me the Devils or fucking the Sabres or somebody. Like, fuck, I was getting so tired.
Every team wanted to play the Sabres last year.
And just watching every game, Edmonton come out and play like absolute dog shit against Toronto. Just pissed me off. And you guys were giving it to me all season about it. I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
With the shutouts and everything
already.
too.
I'm so done, man.
I think Michael Hutchison shut you guys out, for God's sakes. Michael Hutchison.
I can't really say anything because Ottawa didn't beat Edmonton at all. Like, sure, they got a couple overtime points, but
yeah, and then Ottawa for some reason.
You feel my pain in that situation. You're like, Edmonton again? I'm not even putting the game on. Fuck this. I'm done. Let me know when it's 12-0 and I'll fucking cry a little bit. Like,
meanwhile, it's like whenever the Leafs and Sens played, it was like the biggest fucking rivalry of the year. Like, this is the biggest series. Like, they were like, it was just like so intense anytime you played Ottawa. I'm like, why is this team that's supposed to be an easy team such a pain in my ass? Like, they're so stressful to watch play. Like, even like Montreal, we got to play them in the playoffs, but even them, like, I didn't find as competitive as the Senators were with us.
Being that we see each other 4 times a year, even before the start of this season, it's just, I guess we're accustomed to your style of play. I don't really know.
Well, you got one of our old coaches, I guess, and anytime Connor Brown's on the ice, it's like you can tell he's like, you fucking assholes. I'm going to try to score on you every shift just because you traded me away.
Absolute stud for Canada. Absolute stud.
He was a beast this year. Honestly, he's a player that I miss on the Leafs, but I mean, I think he was making a decent chunk at the time, and we had to move.
And Leafs legend Nikita Zaitsev.
Yeah, him and Zaitsev. It was just kind of clearing cap space because it was like, okay, we need to keep the big 4 basically because fucking all of them wanted to just get the bag and get paid. So like guys like that had to get cut loose, right?
And then score 1 goal in playoffs.
It would have been really and then score a goal in the playoffs and like we've got 1 assist. It's like
Matthews regular season's like, yo, I'm just gonna put up 100 goals in 10 games, and then playoff comes around. He's like, I scored too much this season.
One thing I will say, like Montreal did do a good job of shutting them down because it's like regular season, the dude would just like have the puck in the defensive zone, rip a wrist shot on net, and it'd be like, oh, okay, I scored, cool. Playoffs, it was like, dude, this guy's getting like stonewalled and shut down hard. Like I was actually quite surprised. But you know, the thing is like we were supposed to have the Tavares line to help give us that depth, but then he got his brain scrambled, so that kind of messed things up. And I think everything went downhill from there. Even with that 3-game win streak, it was like after that, it was just like, what the fuck is going on? The team didn't even look like the same team that I watched all year. It didn't make any sense, to be honest.
Maple Leaf tired, and that's what they do.
Pretty much, they just Maple Leaf. Like they just, for some reason, the Toronto Maple Leafs just lose in the most embarrassing ways. Like they don't just lose; they do it in the most embarrassing fashion. And I don't know why. It's like, why do you have to do it in the worst possible situation? The way, like, just get swept, if anything. Like, fuck, dragging it to 7 games.
I was going to say, would have been better if we got swept than to lose a 3-1 series lead.
Well, that's the thing, I guess. Like, how do you feel about, I mean, like, the Oilers got fucking clean sweeped, and then the Habs went and swept the team that swept the Oilers. So it was like, ooh.
At least this table wasn't 700 pounds, I would have flipped it.
We pushed the Habs to 7 games. Like, fuck. That's the thing. Like, the Leafs pushed the Habs further than the Vegas Golden Knights, which I thought the Vegas Golden Knights were going to beat them. So, if anything, I can be like, oh, yes, we got them to 7 games, boys.
I don't know what the fuck happened in that series, man.
No, same thing. It was like Vegas looked like they were pretty dominant, getting just peppering Price, and then eventually
kicked the shit out of Colorado. And then they're just like, oh, Montreal.
It was like when Fleury
don't want to beat these guys.
Fleury went out of the net and let the fucking that 1 goal in.
Yeah, like
just turned the tide.
Fuck, that was bad. That was the end of the series right there. That goal ended that series.
Yeah, that was fucking brutal. Okay. Let's just quick run through the trades here. Red Wings, because we have to get the expansion draft.
Yeah.
Red Wings got Nick Leddy. Pretty fucking sick for them. That's a pretty big deal. Pretty big D for them. And then, Islanders get Panik in a 2nd rounder. Not bad.
Panik's going to be a stud for them.
be a decent, pretty good depth forward. Jason Dickinson. I thought Dickinson was a decent prospect for them. I thought.
Does Panik have a beard though? Because he might not like that too much going to the Islanders.
I don't see Panik.
Who knows?
I want to say before we continue, that is the dumbest fucking rule ever. That they're not allowed to have facial hair. Like,
shut
the fuck up, Lou. Just because you can't grow a beard doesn't mean, Trevor, I can feel that too. It's a little bit of fucking chin fuzz.
I barely get anything. It's like, no, just shave it off every day.
But you're still a young buck, Trevor. I'm a fucking old man. Can only grow a mustache.
Old man status.
Yeah.
Here, well, you know what? Let's go over the Leafs trade here because the Leafs got Jared McCann from Pittsburgh Penguins for Philip Hollander and a 7th round pick, which I was like, okay, yes, take the player that you traded to us in the Kapanen trade. Take him back. Give us Jared McCann instead. So I feel like we gave up scraps. I don't even care. But now it's like, okay, I guess it's up to because it sounds like we went the 4-4 route for the protection for expansion.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, is Seattle going to take Kerfoot? And is that why we got McCann to
No, they're going to take
him, or are they going to take McCann? Which, I mean, whatever. So we didn't really lose McCann. We lost a 7th and Hollander in the expansion draft. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But more on that later.
But that's the thing. I guess it depends on who Seattle takes, right?
Next trade.
Barclay Goodrow to New York Rangers. I believe that was just his signing rights, and he wants like a fucking massive deal. So who knows what's happening with that? I don't know if I would pay him that much money.
Tampa's going to start a fire
series. He won really won Stanley Cups with Tampa, but okay, let's do the big trade here. Philadelphia Flyers get Ryan Ellis from Nashville in exchange for Philip Myers and forward Nolan Patrick, who then Nolan Patrick got flipped to Vegas for Cody Glass.
Everyone wins this, I think.
Everyone gets pieces that they want, right? Like, I think Nashville's probably moving towards a newer, younger team, like a rebuild in a way. Philly got a pretty good fucking defense out of Ryan Ellis. I think
Ellis is a stud.
Especially because I think they're trying to get rid of Ghost Bear, so Ellis is probably filling in for him, right?
And he'll step in right on the number 1 power play and help that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cody Glass, I don't really know much about him, but I'm hearing he's got a high ceiling, so he'll be big for. Where'd he go? He
went to Nashville.
Yeah, which I'm a fan of Cody Glass. I thought he was a pretty good prospect, but again, that's maybe biased because I believe he played for Canada on the World Juniors, and I thought he played well.
I think
so. I had high hopes for him.
And if Nolan Patrick can stop getting injured, I think he'd be a great forward for Vegas.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well,
as long as his health is good, like he has a pretty high ceiling.
It's just
like migraine issue, right?
It's the migraine issue that's the main kicker out of it.
I know.
And it's like realistically, it's like both Patrick and Glass come from the same draft. Patrick being the 2nd overall, whilst Glass being the 6th. So it's like each guy is going to have a pretty high ceiling. So just a 1-for-1 swap in that regard probably isn't gonna. That's like both players will do real well in their new organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the cool thing I've seen with some of these trades is every team's kind of gotten something good out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that's pretty good on the trade. Like the only other one was the Andrew Ladd one that went to the Islanders, and Islanders didn't even fucking get anything back. Or didn't. I think they just
it was just an absolute cap dump. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, take Ladd, take these picks. It's like
no gives these backsies. He's all yours now.
Either make signings or big trades.
Then Arizona's going to be like, all right, Edmonton, you can have Phil Kessel, and we'll take Koskinen from you. Okay,
that just doesn't make sense.
You're kind of ripping us off here, but we'll gladly take Phil the thrill off of you.
It's like the thing is, if they're taking on more cap, why would they just then give away more cap than they already have? Like, why do that? There's no point to that.
Phil the thrill is going to lead the Oilers to a Stanley Cup championship. That's why, Trevor.
All right, if you believe that, I will go along with it.
The Islanders didn't even want a pick back, like not even a 7th round. They're just like, fuck it. We don't even want anything. Just take them off of our hands.
I thought they got a 2nd and 3rd conditional.
No, Arizona got Ladd. They got 2nd, and then they got a 2nd that's conditional in the year afterwards, I believe.
So Islanders basically were just like,
they got a bag of pucks.
Get the fuck out of town. We're sick of your shit. Give me that shit back. You're
back. That was
done.
the trade. They were just here's picks, here's lab. They basically got cap space. So that's what they got. They got cap space.
That's what they got. Because
right
it was the second of this year. It's the second conditional of 2022, and then conditional third for 2023. So
oh my god, they got a bunch for Aiden Hill, did they not? Too as well?
Aiden Hill for Coronar, and
it was like a Scully swap with San Jose and a second round pick swap, I think.
Oh yeah.
No, it was so Hill and the 7th went to San Jose, and then Arizona got back Coronar and a second. So
okay,
being that Hill would be the more household name, I guess, because he's been in the league a little longer as a well-known backup. Like, I think he's played a fair amount of games for the last, say, 2-3 years as a backup. Being that they've had Kemper and Ranta have a whole bunch of injury issues.
So is San Jose planning on trying him out as a starter or a backup then this year?
I think they're exposing Jones, so he might be the starter.
Jones is exposed, so
yeah, but that's assuming Jones gets taken, right?
Hill backstopped Canada Gold, didn't he? I think he was their goalie.
I can't remember if I'm honest.
Maybe.
I think I remember watching him, and I was just like, "Yo, the Oilers should jump on this kid." Like,
yeah.
All right,
honestly, I could see a tandem between Jones and Hill, but moving onwards.
I was gonna say, do you guys want to start the expansion draft?
Let's get into it.